that can make all the difference and just add to your layers or your facets, right? Of growth, because we're all just growing still, and be patient with ourselves. And I know this is all really easy to say right now because I'm not in the midst of a crisis around lost employment or, whatever.
A health crisis or
Yeah, I'm a pretty good spot right now. So it's easier to see that the things that I did, even to take care of myself during that time, that was hard, but essential, go for the walk.
Hello, I'm Tammy Hahnemann, a maker, digital content creator, someone who works in many different mediums with a true passion for helping others find their creative spark. I also really love to connect others who have something to share with those who want to learn. Welcome to Heart and Hands of a Maker, the creative journey. If you found us, chances are you're on a quest for creative inspiration. Maybe you're feeling stuck in an artistic rut, dreaming of turning your passion into a flourishing business, or maybe you're hoping to see your work in print or grow your online presence. Well, my friend, wherever you are on your creative journey, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking with Katie Hacker, author, inventor, jewelry making expert, creative content master, and so much more. We'll be discussing her creative journey and hear all that she's working on now and what's coming up next. It's time to grab your favorite beverage, settle into your creative space, and meet Katie. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's so fun to be on the other side.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I know. And it's a little tense for me to be on the other side because you're the master. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
Oh gosh. Well, oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. And I know everyone will love listening to this episode just to get to know you a little bit better. And even though they may know you, there's so many layers to your life. And I would love for you to share some of what maybe people aren't aware of that you're willing to kind of cast out there and help fill in some of the gaps.
Sure. You might be the one who told me or gave me the word facets for your life, which I think is really jewelry good.
Jewelry good.
That's a new TM. I just hashed.
Yeah, I think you did.
Jewelry good.
File that one. Get that paperwork off today.
Yeah, I'm going to work on that right after this.
Okay.
No, I'm really not. Oh, yeah. No, thanks for having me. I really am glad to be here. And it's kind of a funny time because I'm transitioning between things. So I feel like, in the past, it might have been here to talk about a new book or my television program or something. And so this is fun. We get to chat.
We just get to hang out, talk about life and things. And you have done so many things, which I think people find fascinating. Have you had recently, like anything you're working on where someone will say, tell me something interesting about yourself that's different from everybody else in the room? And you're like, I've been on TV? And everybody's like, oh, you've been on TV? And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh. Okay, so yep, there you go. I answered the question. You've been on TV like a bazillion times.
Yeah, well, hosting first, I was a guest on Beads, Bubbles, and Jewels, which was Kathy Still's PBS program. And then, as you know, of course, and then I moved over to the host seat, after a few years, and hosted the rest of the time. And it was awesome. It was very intense filming. I mean, I think we did a pretty good job of showing people pictures of the green room and things like that. And it was a creative tornado a lot of times. And then, you get out onto the set and it's like, suddenly everything is perfect. So we did a lot of that, which was fun. And doing JTV has been fun too. And different, being live on air, of course, is really different than being taped. And edited and all the things. So yeah, some cool.
Yeah, there's nobody in the control room editing out some of those little flubs or like things you shouldn't have said out loud that you've already said that you can't take back.
Yeah, it's gone. It's okay. It was good practice. Don't freak out. It's okay. No. I mean, people like to tease me. You and other guests like to tease me about how on the set of Beads, Bubbles, and Jewels, I would let you know that we're like finishing our time, or please move on to the next step or something by touching you what I thought was lightly on the toe with my foot. turns out that some people didn't think that was very light. And some people had on steel toe shoes. And I was like, why isn't she going on? What is happening? So you just never know. It's kind of like Fast and Furious. It's good.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that you've always portrayed a masterful approach to everything you do, and you make it look so
nice.
easy. Oh, I don't mean it to be nice. It really is true. It's true. You've always made everything you do look so easy. And I know, because I know you, that it takes a lot to make something look easy.
That's right. So much preparations, so much running around, doing all the things, all the last minute trips to the craft store and the hardware store and every place else on one single project times a million, because we have done a lot of projects, So yeah, I mean, the goal was always to make it inviting so that people would want to give it a try. But I think what's interesting now is with the internet, TikTok, people aren't so concerned about being perfect, like that, and maybe even perfect isn't the right word, but glossy.
Yeah.
They're pretty real about how it is, right? And that whole era, it skipped over me. Like, I did not do any of that. I only did letting people see the front part, So yeah, life is messy, and I have teenagers, as you know, so now I have a lot more like humble. Saying that I've been on TV is not like dropping a big bomb on anyone. It's just, oh, that's nice. So, how many TikTok views do you have?
It's the truth. That's why I don't often lead with that, because it's like to most people now it's like no big deal. To my mother, it's still a big deal, but to most people, they're like, goodness. TV? Do people still watch TV?
Yes, thank goodness for my parents. They watch everything I do.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Well, and but I think it's just different times, and it doesn't. It's not like it was ancient history. I mean, I think the last segments we filmed were 7 or 8 years ago, maybe. So maybe a little less, maybe 6, but still, it's not like it was that long ago. It's just different.
No, it is still relevant. I think that's the other thing, is like everything you've done is still relevant. You as a designer have always created classical pieces, things that are very wearable, fun, exciting, but yet really approachable in design and making and wearability.
Thank you. Well, I think I try to make things that I want to wear. But there was a period of time when what I wanted to wear was really 80s, and then I don't mean that as a compliment, even though 80s jewelry is fun.
You mean that as a good thing, right?
My first female creations were gigantic clip earrings made with like a disc with caning on them. So, I wish I still had them. But
I wish you did too, because I'd love to see them.
I don't know about timeless.
That might not be as classical as I thought. I'm seeing Molly Ringwald in my mind.
Yes, that's probably what I was going for, to be honest.
Yeah.
Heavily inspired then by the Breakfast Club, for sure.
Oh yeah. Who wasn't?
Yeah. True. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of just, even, you and I both love to write well-written articles that bring the point across and quote people who know what they're talking about. And that takes a lot of work. I mean, it's like a 2-minute read. And
you can't write a 1,500-word article in an hour? Really?
I mean, I don't.
I don't either.
I don't know how people do it, but yeah, it just takes some time. I think it just takes some time.
Yeah. Well, let me push this button, and we could hop off of it really fast. But what are your thoughts on using ChatGPT?
Okay. On the one hand, I love it because it really does save me some time. I mean, I labor over my word choice and my grammar, all the things. So to be able to take something I've written and run it through to see, like, is this, does this have the best SEO that it could have? Does this use the keywords that I want it to use? it helps me with that. I probably don't need it. We've been doing this a long time. We don't really need it, but it helps me to know that the computers are talking to each other in a way that makes sense to them. So what I mean by that is chat makes your like your intro paragraph readable for Google to search it. Right. So that's the part about it that I love.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's helpful. Like any other tool, you have to rely on your own craft. I just wouldn't put a prompt into there and be like, write me 500 words about jewelry making of the 80s. I might for interest,
right,
but not for writing.
Oh, that's good advice. I think, as I still offer presentations and I say, as much as people don't like to hear it, content really is still king. And it doesn't have to be traditional content, but content is so important, especially if you have a website or if you're trying to get traction as a creative content producer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for people to realize you can't just lean on a tool and expect it to do your work for you. You really have to do your work. Do you have suggestions for people who may be listening, who are trying to figure out how to leverage content in a way that is beneficial to them as a business? Because, this has been your whole life, a career. I should say career, not your whole life.
Yeah, career part for sure. Yeah, I think part of I don't really know even what to call this, but creative consultant is what I've landed on for what I have done over the years is a company says they need some help with their landing page. It takes some work to figure out what is their business really about. And sometimes they already know and they'll tell you, and other times they need you to tell them. And I think that's where being an expert in what you love helps you tell them, because you can say, well, I see this. Does that gel with what you're trying to sell? You're kind of a liaison between the company selling things and the people who are buying the things. And content and advertising are not the same necessarily, although a lot of times they cross. They're not. Content is really that educational piece and that inspirational piece. Advertising can then use that, but I don't think they're the same. So now circling back to your original question, I think somebody who's looking to have better copy on their website could certainly use chat to learn what chat is finding. But just beware that some phrases, some words even, are very specific to wherever chat found them. So I think you really have to write it in your own brand voice. And that's what chat doesn't do. You take what the chat says and put it in your own brand voice. Yeah. And I think your customers more likely to find you then, find you, shop with you, get to know you. So I know it sounds weird saying get to know you about a company, but I think a lot of the companies that we work with are the people too. They're a small business. So it really is getting to know you, and shoppers like that. I like that as a customer. I like buying from people I know.
Right. Know, like, and trust. Like, those factors are so important in any level of business that you're trying to accomplish. If you're selling a course, if you're selling a product, if you're selling anything, know, like, and trust. And to your earlier point, I think the vulnerability, the realistic version of who we are now versus the glossy version is really more valuable than we could have ever imagined 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
It is scary, right? It's a little scary to let people know just exactly what went into this. I grew up in a family business, in the craft business, so I was lucky to have a lot of supplies and a lot of inspiration around me, and connections were easier to make at the beginning, which I really appreciated and grateful for. But then, I did a lot of hard work to learn the things that I needed to know to do what I wanted to do next. But I feel like the small, kind of the mess behind the scenes, it's scary to talk about it because it's so real. And I mean, jewelry is fun. Okay. It's fun. There's no need for, I have formerly felt like there's no need for somebody to know what went into this, because it's supposed to be fun, but I think recognizing that all of it is, what makes it good, being a little more revealing about the mess is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so for me, it was like, grow up small family business, college, learn how to be in, I learned English and journalism, then go into publishing right away. On the side, I've always been doing other things.
Yeah.
And some people have been surprised by that over the years. Some of my jewelry making friends are like, what? You're an organic farmer? Wait, you were a massage therapist? Like, when did you do all this stuff?
How is that possible with everything else they know you do?
Yeah, but I think the pressures of also not wanting people to, wanting people to have fun and see the fun part. I think part of the pressures means you have to like compartmentalize everything that's happening with you to get there, right? So like, got to take care of the mental health. I definitely had some mental health stuff, and that helped me though, like make some big decisions about, for a while, not being self-employed, because it was just too hard. And now being in a better place with my mental health, I feel like, okay, there's a reason why I need like the interest of doing all these different things. I'm perfectly great with doing somebody's Instagram stuff on Monday, writing an article on Tuesday, touching up the article on Wednesday, and doing something for my kids Thursday. It's like, I love that. That is really what, I don't know, I think keeps life interesting.
Well, let me ask you, because some people are in the same exact position you are, either self-employed by choice or not, trying to figure out how to cobble together enough, I want to say resources, enough revenue to live, to do the things, and maybe managing multiple projects. Like, how do you keep track of it all?
Well, I learned how to do spreadsheets, which is really helpful. In the olden days, I had a really big whiteboard. Like,
yes. Oh my gosh, don't you love a whiteboard? I wrote it down on my list today. I need a digital whiteboard.
Yes, I had a humongous whiteboard, and I would write the company that I'm working for at the top, and then all the projects that we have cooking, and then I can visually see and mark it out once I've made my way down the list. Now it's more about spreadsheets, and but it's a very similar process. It helps me just keep my brain clear on all the different things that are happening and that I want to happen, or that someone has suggested. Just keeping all those notes in one place helps a lot.
The notes, oh my gosh. Well, and I'll just mention this, not for any reason other than being in a similar position as you are. Miro, Miro, is a tool that Rich turned me on to, and it's a virtual whiteboard, and you can map out all sorts of things. So it is, and it's a little less, it's a little more exciting because you can use color and post-it notes,
Oh, yes,
like little sticky notes. Yeah, but it's virtual, so you don't have a stack that you might misplace or get stuck. Oh wait, I'm actually giving you all the things that happened to me behind the scene. Anyway, just a thought, knowing how you think, and it's a tool that I find very helpful and portable.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll check it out. I like the idea of that.
Yeah, it's been great.
Post-its are very powerful tool because you can move them around and they can be in different columns, and you can make, I use the wall a lot. I do. Yeah. I don't write on it. I haven't brought myself to that, but it's helpful. I was just laughing to myself before this recording because, of course, I've been working at my kitchen table quite a bit lately. And so I have all these little stacks of things. But I will say everything was in a tray. Like, I had my tray system going on. So,
thank you, Kathy Stahl.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy Stahl. Thank you. if you're a maker, that is a tray system is really helpful. And by system, all I mean is just have some trays and put one project in one tray, you know. So that does help me too.
It does help. Just the other day, I had taken a project out in between two other things because I had time for this type of work. And then the next day when I was like, oh wait, I need to get back to the other project I was working on, but this is still on my desk. I need a tray. Where's my tray? I grabbed a cardboard box that happened to be handy, but that's what you need to do. Like,
that's a tray that works. And also, like, sometimes it's just a small tray. Sometimes it's a big tray.
Yeah.
I know Sandra Lupo has, or she used to anyway, because I remember talking to her about it. She has each jewelry project is in a similarly sized tray, and they're all organized. Mine is more like a towering,
like this.
There you go.
And then they stack. Yeah, she turned me on to those. They're brilliant. It's so helpful.
Mine is definitely a little more haphazard. I just use whatever tray is around.
Yeah. And that's okay.
I do have some of those bead storage solutions trays that come with the little boxes. I like those a lot, but not everything. I mean, you just got to pick what's at hand, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a wonderful level of permission that you're giving people. It's really okay. And you told me that a cardboard box is okay. And all of a sudden I was like,
seriously? We need to lighten up, girl.
Oh, good. Katie's not going to be disappointed in me that I grabbed the nearest Amazon box that was sitting.
What you gotta do.
Well, and I think the point of it was like I had finally organized everything and now I needed to move it. And where am I going to move it to? Wait, I don't want to lose my order. I had everything in, so trays are a great way to do that.
Well, and that's something I was going to share too is, I think that you can really get busy organizing. I can spend a lot of time organizing.
Oh, yes.
The organizing is not the making. And it's actually using a different part of our brain to straighten and organize. And that's fine. But that's not the same energy as the creativity that we might need to make something.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point you have to limit the amount. For me, I feel like there's just not enough time to do everything. So, trays works for me.
Yeah. And I think I would love to pick your brain a little bit on that. If you have depth there in the different parts of your
about it.
Yeah, just a little bit. And that you're interested, because I think understanding how the brain works, and because I find I often go down the rabbit hole and I would much rather just be putting labels on a box with what's inside the box than stringing the thing. And I know that about myself, and I have to say, like, no, you actually are on deadline. And thankfully you and I have lived in a world of deadlines that force me to get things done. But then there's days where it's like, maybe I'll just go knit. Or so, like, how does the brain work, and how do we harness that to our benefit and channel it?
Well, I guess the depth of my knowledge in this area is just that I do know, and I have read about creativity and a lot and the brain, and we like to be in the zone, right? Like, being in the zone is it's very calm. Our whatever bees are buzzing in our heads are quiet. We're creating something, and that's lighting up a circuit in our brain that doesn't get lit in a lot of other ways. It's that's just the science, behind making things. And I think also being in the zone. So I think I want to be in the zone as much as possible. But the reality is that all the organizing and stuff is tidier, and it's easier to check it off. Like if I'm having a day where I just feel like I need some control. I need some control.
I need to walk into a room where I'm not stepping over trays and moving things.
Take care of business, and I mean, I think it's fair, but I think I don't want to live there.
Right.
Because it's not the same kind of feelings that I get as when I'm making something. But the reality is I probably live in that organizing and tidiness and, all that stuff more than I need to, because it's kind of in a way easier. Although when you're in the zone, that is so much easier. Like, you see how much easier it is.
Yeah. And
rewarding. Like, you make something. comes out great. You're awesome.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think I'm still learning about it, but
Yeah.
I do try to listen. And I think it's okay to give yourself a break, like you're allowed to knit. Use the cardboard box for your knitting if you want. I don't care. Just put it in somewhere. Or not. It's okay. And I think I felt a lot more pressures around this when I was trying to work full-time, making full-time kind of money. I think it's hard. Your brain is stretched in so many different ways, and there's not a lot of time left over for this feeling of the zone or the calmness of making something. But I did have somebody in my life a few years ago who was like, I think you really love making things. And I was like, yeah. Yes, I do. I love making things. She was like, you should try to do that every day. What if you just set aside half an hour every day to make something or make some little thing or towards something bigger or whatever? And because my world was getting really full of other things, paperwork and just the busyness of working.
Yeah. So Excel spreadsheets.
And it's all all of our work in the craft industry has been based on crafts are fun and really cool and do great things for us. And, when you have your head down so hard, you can't really see like, oh, I'm not even doing that right now.
Right.
Oh, I have to make a bracelet. I don't have time.
I don't have time. Well, and I know some feedback from listeners has been, the business side of it. And I think it's interesting because that's a whole nother side of the making is, if you're in this as a business, it's a whole other side of it. And the reality is you're often making far less time than you are actually running the business. So that's, to me, an important point.
I don't know. That's true in almost every business, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like it shouldn't be true in crafting because crafting is fun.
It's fun.
But, the business of the crafting isn't always the most fun part. But I think other jobs that I've done, I've also spent a lot of time on the notes or, doing whatever accounting that my poor brain can manage, you have to do that stuff. I've been helping out some friends with a toy store, and it is super fun, but it's also a business.
Right.
I get to come in and do the fun part, which is talking to customers and helping somebody find a present for their 11-year-old granddaughter or, putting all the stuffed animals in a pleasing arrangement. I love it. It's so fun.
That is awesome. That's like, I don't know. I'm trying to equate it to some analogy that isn't coming in my brain, but that is like a Zen. It's almost like, let me go and just help you. It's nice that hopefully they're paying you, but it just seems like that you should be paying them for that opportunity. It's like,
don't tell them.
No. Oh, don't listen. But it seems very therapeutic. Like it gives you something completely different from your work life, from your creative life. It's just something enjoyable and easy and fun.
But being on your feet all day is no joke.
Yeah, retail's tough.
That retail is hard. Like everybody knows. But it's that balance, right? It's more fun than it is taxing. So,
but you're also you don't own the business. So the other side of your point is that even though toys are fun and it's a fun place to be and there are stuffed animals everywhere and you meet wonderful people who are there usually for a very happy occasion, there's the grind of actually running the business that happens behind the scenes.
You got to be there every day, got to have inventory, got to take care of the money side, like the building, there's all the things.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's no surprise really that all businesses have business built into them.
Yeah.
But, I think it's, I do feel really like, I think it's fun that we can do things that are for fun, even though it is also for work.
Sure.
It's always been kind of hard to go back and forth, but also kind of great.
Yeah. And you have the capacity to see that and appreciate it, which is wonderful.
Yeah, well, I think, That's what
Well,
it's
you
all
could be
about.
like, oh, I've got to go to work. I've got to go talk to people. Like, you're like, no, I get to go
Yeah.
and rearrange
Well,
the stuffed animals. And
yeah, it's true. Yeah. But every day, I mean, it would be hard, you know? So I think,
Mhm.
again, the cutting yourself some slack. Like, you can't run a sprint every day. I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
And I
No, most
think,
people can't. Even if they try, it's not necessarily the healthiest approach.
hmm yeah, so building in some other stuff that's just for fun or that has nothing to do with your work, or if, especially if you're doing art as a business, craft as a business, doing
Mhm.
other things when, I mean, allowing that you may not have a ton of energy outside of building your business or running your
Yeah.
business, but
Mhm.
there's time, you know, there's a little time here and there.
And you're still making jewelry
Hmm
as you're navigating this independent freelance lifestyle. You're
hmm
still making jewelry.
Yes,
What
I
what
am.
what do you, what do you like? What's lighting you up right now?
Okay, back to the toy store.
Mm-hmm.
I My friend asked me if I would like to put some of my jewelry in the toy store. I said, yes, of course I would. But then I thought about, well, what would it be? You know, because the kinds of things that I make over the years are mainly things that manufacturers would need or that I'm writing an article about or that we're doing a TV thing about. Like, what is my actual jewelry?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a whole bunch of fun turning miniatures into earrings. That is really fun. So people love them. You know, they're just cute. We need
Yeah,
some more
they are
cuteness in our
sweet.
lives. So yeah, I
They're
have like little teddy bears that I actually drill their heads and put a little. I mean, I use some actual jewelry making engineering in the making of these, you know, converting these toys into earrings. But yeah, that's been fun. I'm doing some leather and bead stuff, which is
great.
fun, and which I used to enjoy and just hadn't done much of lately. So it's fun to get back around to it, doing all my knotting. You
Aha.
know, gotta do some knotting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now with jewelry making. I at one time I really aspired to be a metalsmith, and I took some classes, and I don't really have a good setup for it in my house. I think I could make it work, but it's really interesting sometimes to try something. Like I thought that I would try it, love it, do it forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tried it. I enjoyed it mostly, but I have other things that I enjoy, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not my focus. You know, I don't do it. And that's okay. I didn't think I would ever like see it in the rear view, but I am, and that's okay too. Maybe sometime
Wow.
I'll pick it back up.
Wow. That's very interesting that you could say, I didn't think I'd see it in the rear view. It's a great perspective. And I I don't know when I'll start to see things in the rear view, but I think I'm at a point in my life where I have to start making that distinction. It's hard
Why?
because there's no way in heck I'll be able to do all the things I want to do before the end of my time. There's no way. And I've saved
Oh,
things and I've done so many things and I've like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You're so mature. You're like, oh, I think
thanks,
it's.
Aunt Tammy. I don't feel very mature, but thank you. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think I just feel a lot of it's totally self-inflicted guilt, right?
Oh,
Like the metalsmithing stuff that I bought or have,
yeah.
it's not that much, but it's not so much that it's taking up a lot of room in my life. Like I can hold
Oh,
on to it and it's not taking up a
okay.
lot of room, you know? It's
Okay.
easy to kind of let go of the concept of something when you're not that invested.
Hmm.
I mean, don't you think like some of your crafting that you may think that I think, I don't know. My guess is that you don't really want to stop doing those things. You just want more time to do the things.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm
So
trying to be realistic.
why?
I don't know. I live with a very practical man.
Yeah. As do many of us. It's true.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, so
you're going to run out of room, I guess. That's a problem. You might have
That's
to make
where,
some decisions when you run out of room.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, well, what about the miniatures? I wanted to ask you, are the miniatures related to your parents' business, or are you finding new things that are a miniature and using them?
Some of the things I found are things that we used to sell.
Wow.
So that's, a full circle moment.
Yeah.
And some are just cute little charms and things that look like toys that you would find in a toy store, like the
Mm,
T-Rex charm and little robots, just fun things.
so
And
cool.
yeah, that's just for fun. I did the only the assembly. I mean, especially if it's already a charm,
Yeah.
all I do was add an ear wire, But um, if I was a busy mom or busy grandmom, running around with little kids and didn't have any time and saw those by the checkout, I think I would be like, oh, those are for me. I did all this for
Yeah.
them. Those are for me.
Yeah.
And I don't
Perfect to
have
wear
to
to a,
like get them anywhere. They're already here. They're ready.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of to me, that's my impulse behind making them, is just to make it easy and fun. But I had a little collection of these little fuzzy bears. Um, they're probably like an inch tall. And when I was, a kid, and I think my sister and I got them maybe from my parents, but also just other places. I don't know why these fuzzy bears were around, but they
Hmm.
were. They sometimes have like a little bow tie,
Yeah.
or so those are the ones I'm talking about. I make some earrings with those, and I've been gluing things onto them, like a little tiny coffee mug.
Oh, Katie, you are so good. Oh my gosh.
It's it's not as involved as a lot of the things that we have done, but it's really fun, and they're
Yeah.
fun to wear, and I think people like them. So I'll
That's
keep doing
awesome.
them until I come on my next thing.
Yeah. Well, and the
Mhm.
toy store may be like, yeah, we've got plenty. We're good.
We have every wall has bears. We're good.
We're
Yeah.
good.
No, I glued a little candy corn bead to their belly, so it looks like they're having a little nibble. It's just cute.
It is adorable. Maybe you're
Yeah,
onto
they're fun.
something.
I just I think what I'm on to right now is really trying to um realize that some of the things I do to that are not fun or not pressure or like feel like pressure
Hmm.
are not necessary.
Hmm.
Like I don't have to, like, what amount, I know we all have to do a certain amount of these things that we don't want to do, but yeah, so making the bears is a nice antidote. It's fun
That's awesome. Hmm.
and they're cute.
They are adorable. I love it. I love it. We'll have a picture in the show notes page.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, cool. So you're also still writing. I hope.
Hmm. Yes,
You
I
were an
am
amazing
writing.
writer.
Thank
Okay, good.
you.
Mm.
Thank you. Yes, I am. I'm going to write a few articles for the Tucson Show Guide.
Oh, fabulous.
Um, hmm And other than that, just some writing, kind of descriptive type of writing behind the scenes. Kate
Mm.
Richberg invited me to do some things with beatshop.com, and I've been working with Leathercord USA a little bit. So, just some writing, doing that kind of brand voice writing is really, I think, a fun activity. I like the research behind it, and then the wordsmithing of it and massaging the
Yeah,
words all just right. I like that.
that's awesome.
It's fun. Yeah, so some more of that hopefully in the future. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. I think I've worked several full-time jobs lately and then not been working full-time jobs, and feeling like I didn't want to have my own business again because it's too stressful.
Mhm.
And now I'm kind of just falling into doing my own business again. And right now, it doesn't feel that stressful. It feels like I could
Good.
do this, like I could, it doesn't have to be the same as it was. And I think that's part of what you're saying about, like what I'm saying about, like, let those old things go that you don't want to do or that you
Yeah,
don't have time for or whatever, just let go. And it
yeah,
sounds so easy, right? It's definitely not easy. I definitely like wait until the very last moment to tear off the band-aid and like, like,
Oh, I knew it was gonna
oh,
hurt.
that was gonna hurt. It does. Yeah. I just, it's just trying to do what you enjoy and what you can do with your skills. What I can, look at my skills, like what can I do, and what do I want to do, and what might someone pay me for, and then find out. Like find
That's
out if
awesome. And it's good advice. I was talking with Juliana Avalar not too long ago, and she said the same exact thing. Like, really, what is your passion? What is it you want to do? Not necessarily what you think you have to do. Like, there is a permission to just doing what you want to do and making that be the thing. And
and why don't we know that?
I don't know. We've been doing this for so long. Like, why don't we know that? We tell other people it all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, do what you love. People will. I think part of it is because that's so much in the atmosphere in our culture is the path of doing what you love versus the path of making money. And there are plenty of people who are doing both and who show us that it's possible.
Yes.
And still we have this internalized, like, if this craft isn't making money, then I really shouldn't be doing it. Or
right.
Well, you got to do a variety of things to figure out what it is you want to do. I think if you have the luxury of, time and dollars.
Yeah. And if it's not something you can do fully because you need to fit it in part-time, there is still room for that discovery.
Yes. Yeah. Cultivating the side hustle, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a hustle, but cultivating the side gig, cultivating the hobby.
Yeah.
And as jewelry making instructors, we have never thought that all of our students are going to become professional jewelers, jewelry makers, jewelry artisans. Like, we're thinking most of these folks are doing this for fun on the side. And that's great. And maybe now it's time for us to turn that on ourselves. Like, what do we want to do on the side? What do we have extra passion for? Not that we weren't doing it before. Just, I think when your hobby is your business, you have to find a new hobby, kind of.
Yep. I think you've offered me that advice before.
I really mean it this time.
And to anybody who's listening who needs to hear it, it's really okay. It's really okay.
Just investigate and try things, and there's no shame in, not everything is going to be a winner. It's okay.
Right. I think to your point, what you've also always shared with me is just because I made a good loaf of bread and maybe I can make 3 or 4 good loaves of bread a week doesn't mean that I should start selling my bread or that I have to.
Doesn't mean you have to. I totally want you to, especially if you ship to Arizona. But no.
Rich is anxious for me to.
Yeah, I mean, some things can be for fun, and I just forget that sometimes because that applies to everybody else, not necessarily to us, right? Like to me.
Yeah, never to you. You give it to everybody, but not for yourself.
Yeah, like the bread is a perfect example. You don't have to sell it. You could just make it for fun. But that might mean that maybe you don't do it, all day, every day.
Right.
If you really want to do it all day, every day, then you're really going to kick into like, okay, how do I make this possible? And the way of making that possible might be doing it for money.
Yeah. Well, and I think back to my original crafting days when polymer was the thing, because I wasn't allowed to do glass in the house we were living in. Polymer became the thing. Yeah. We became overrun with the things. And so I started giving them away, and then it turned into orders that I didn't tell people I was taking. And so it does sometimes just happen naturally, just doing something you're enjoying, learning something new, trying something different.
Well, and you are the queen of being enthusiastic about something, and then everybody else wants to do it too. Oh. Like that's part of what it is with being a creative, passionate person is people, want to feel that way too.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of what makes it successful what makes craft successful as a business is we are so enthusiastic about it. Like, of course, I want to do that too.
Right.
Maybe not the knitting, but definitely some of the other things you do.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. Like, uh, we're marketing the hobby, the craft, the results, and it could be a beautiful pair of sneakers, but it actually is something that's really a beautiful necklace or a pair of earrings or something colorful that you can put on your refrigerator. That's a magnet that you made. There's
Mm-hmm.
some satisfaction in knowing that I could actually make that, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
yeah,
Don't you think that's, I mean, I think that's a different kind of approach of the
yeah,
person who um, just wants to make the thing. I definitely have fun teaching other people how to do it. You
yes,
know, it's fun. It's so exciting to see the aha moment on their face. Like, oh,
yes,
I get this. I can do
yeah,
this now. Now
yeah,
there are some times when yes, I do want to just sit here and make my little bears all day long, you know, but
yeah.
showing other people how to pick creative things to put on their bear and what kind of glue works and doesn't work and you know, all that stuff, it makes it more fun. It just adds to my enjoyment of the
Hmm.
making of the thing for sure. And I think, you know, it's fun to be around other people too who enjoy the process of learning
Sure.
and teaching other people what they do.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess that's part of the making it all look really easy and fun. It's like, come and try this. Come try this thing. This is amazing.
In an 8-minute segment on Beads, Baubles, and Jewels, you too can make
Yes.
the same
Yeah.
design that took me 8 days to actually put together for you.
Yes. 8 days, 2 trips to the store, 3 internet orders. Um, I also am writing an article about it, and you know, it's a whole package. I do enjoy the package, I have to say.
Oh, me too. Me too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you've been doing it for so long. How long? How long have you been doing this?
Let's
30
go with
something?
more than 20 years.
More than 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Oh,
been doing crafty stuff forever, but
forever.
I
Yeah.
and I helped my parents with their catalog, which was 600 pages and a lot of cut and paste.
Mm.
So that feels like professional, even though I wasn't a professional yet. But then being in publishing, yeah, a little bit before the year 2000. So
Wow.
yeah, the year 2000. Well, sounds like its own thing. It should have a little crown over it.
It should have something. A little
Something.
starburst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, confetti emojis. Yeah. Yeah. So a
Wow.
while, you know, a while,
Hmm.
but it's all in different ways, but always
Hmm.
along the same line of, I guess, you know, teaching people through inspiration, education,
Hmm.
like I said, and just trying to um, be that bridge between products in a bag or products on a shelf and look what you can make. Ta-da!
You too can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. Hmm. I think it's wonderful. Like it all boils down to empowering other people. Your whole everything is about that. Like
Yeah.
you really just support people, and outside of jewelry making and outside of crafts, like you just do that for people naturally. Like that's just who you are.
Well, I think that's why we're here. I mean,
Hmm.
thank you for seeing that in me.
Hmm.
I think that is also a little bit the remove of television for me was great because you're just doing the work. But behind the scenes, the work is with all these really cool creative people.
Mm.
So, and helping them or them helping me or, you know, just the connections that we made doing that. And then going into real in person of teaching classes in various places and, um, you know, through books, teaching people and stuff. I think, yeah, that's what I like to do. But I think it's definitely all about evolving.
Hmm.
You know, it's definitely evolved over the years in lots of different ways that I would never have predicted. You
Right.
know, when you invited me to work with you at Golden Peak and we did the magazines, I mean, that was such a big opportunity to be back in publishing in a new way.
Hmm.
Um, and working on the more corporate side of things. But we had all those instructors who worked with us and writers, and yeah, I learned a lot. I've learned a lot on all the various paths.
Well, and I think it's important.
Is the right word.
Oh, I think it is. I think the important thing to note here for me is that just being nimble and willing to change and accepting change, even if it's not what you anticipated or welcomed. Exactly. I think I've said this way too many times recently out loud. It's just like, Netflix didn't start out as what we know today. They used to actually mail you a DVD and you had to actually really mail it back. And if they didn't evolve, they wouldn't even have a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
Right? And Amazon, they used to sell books. That was it.
Yeah, true. I think you can't, I mean, for me, I definitely feel like all these things that we do, like the teaching opportunities, the writing, the things, prepared me for when I did see a new opportunity or somebody approached me with a new opportunity to be ready. And by ready, I don't mean like, oh yes, I've been planning this all along. It just means you have all this stuff in your toolkit.
Yeah.
So you can do the next thing, whatever that is. Or if you don't have it, then you can get it. And right now, learning online is so affordable and easy to do. You could learn how to do things if you don't know. Mm-hmm. If for building your own business, I mean, so yeah, I like that phrase about like when opportunity knocks, like be ready.
Be ready.
And it doesn't mean your bags are packed, you're ready to go. It just means, yeah, I could consider doing that. I'm open to that.
Yeah.
And I think those kinds of opportunities do come along, or you can seek them.
Right.
I think sometimes the biggest thing for me has been self-confidence, or like, why would I write a book about that when there are already a million books about that? Right? The answer is because you are you, and your book is going to be from your perspective, and you have something special to say, and you're good at this, So I think that type of stuff, though, when you're not well rested, when you're like burning the midnight oil all the time, money's tight, stress levels are crazy, mental health stuff, family stuff's going on. How do you take care of all that stuff and still have energy for creating this business that you want, or this employment that you're seeking? It's hard. It's not easy, and it's not overnight, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what do you recommend? Because you have walked that path. I've walked that path. What do you recommend to somebody who might be in the middle of that path or is hit with it tomorrow? Like, what do you suggest so that you can find and make the time to do the things and step outside of that stress zone? Because that's real life.
I think a big thing is to just slow down, because we don't want to, and we're used to being busy, and that being busy means being successful. And I think when a whammy happens, you're not equipped to just, I don't know, I just think you just gotta like stop.
Like, just stop. Listen. No, I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Listen, I think I call a friend, say, what is wrong with me? What is good about me, or whatever it is you need to say to a person you really trust, and that can make all the difference and just add to your layers or your facets, right, of growth, because we're all just growing still, and be patient with ourselves. And I know this is all really easy to say right now because I'm not in the midst of a crisis around lost employment, or whatever,
a health crisis, or yeah
I'm a pretty good spot right now, so it's easier to see that the things that I did, even to take care of myself during that time, like that was hard, but essential. go for the walk, try to meditate, or do whatever
Yeah.
you do to get quiet,
Yeah.
Do the class that you have time for now, and feel fine about it. Or maybe just a tiny bit of like, oh, I have a little too much time on my hands,
Yeah.
But I think it's like just a process, right? It's not going to happen overnight, and it's okay. And I think for me too, like I never want anyone to see that hard part. And just like with the crafting, it should be easy, right? I don't want anybody to see that hard part, but people that I do say, man, this is hard. They're like, me too. I had a hard time too. And it's such a relief to find out that you're not the only person in the universe who's having a difficult time figuring this out.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't mean that you're going to be like this forever. It's temporary. And that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, it's a great frame of mind for sure. It's temporary. Ask for help. Lean on the people you can trust.
It's okay.
Yeah. Even when everything in your world you think is right, you're still going to have a bad day every once in a while, and it's just how it is. Not everything is perfect. But we get so caught up in that, and social media makes it so hard to see things in a way that you don't think everybody's life is perfect. So what's wrong with me? My life isn't perfect. What
you don't have the Pinteresty alcove on your patio? I know you do, actually. But for me, I'm like, the outsides don't always match what I have in mind. And what level of that is okay,
Sure.
It's okay not for me. I'm okay with having a semi Pinteresty patio. It doesn't have to be the 100 that I would dream of,
Right.
Well, but that's what we've been telling people. It's like we have been telling people is you can have that perfect version of this, bracelet or whatever it is. And I think I think it's becoming more okay with everybody to just accept that it's not perfect, and that perfection in fact does not mean success. That to find out what you feel good about. What do you feel good about making? What do you want to make? I like that.
I like that
my
too.
Collection, my array, what shall I make? So nice.
Well, in the 80s are back, so maybe it's time to go back to that design and remake it.
I don't know. Maybe. I'd rather just find a picture.
Okay, some things are best left in the past.
Yeah, it's okay.
That might be one of them.
It was fun to do. And you could, lots of things are fun to do, right? So you have to just prioritize, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good... Yeah. So many nuggets, Katie. You were a fountain of wisdom.
Thanks. I spent a little too much time with those little quote books when I was a youth, where it's like life lesson type of things.
Yeah.
I should go back to it and be like, oh, come on. That's not real.
Oh my gosh.
That's good.
Oh, that's good. Well, so Katie, we have covered so many different zips and zaps and angles and directions. But I'm sure there's something that I didn't ask you that would be something you'd like to close with. What else did you want to include or share today?
Well, I think I just, I really am grateful to you for having me on today because, like I mentioned at the beginning, like I don't feel that I have this big mic drop type of thing to promote or anything. So it's been fun to talk about all these aspects of kind of behind the scenes too. So thanks for asking me about that. And I guess I would just say again, I think it's, perfection is a trap, and we don't have to go there. We can just listen to what we want to do and what we have fun doing. And I think people respond to that. And of course, there are all kinds of businessy type of things that go into having your own business. It's all really important. But as a creative, I would just say, I'm excited about what's happening. I feel excited about what's next. And I think to try to hold on to that excitement, of course, there are lots of little things you do, like the walking,
Mm-hmm.
the making, the organizing, all the things. But I think, yeah, you love it. So believe it.
Believe in yourself, do it, practice it, put a little time in each day if you can.
Yeah. Yeah. You're great.
And you're great. That's very, very generous, very kind of you to say and offer to people, because I think you're great.
Thank you.
I
I
learned
think
so
you're
much
great
from you.
too.
Hmm.
Well, it's, that's what we're here for, is just learning and being with each other and figuring this out as much as we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Well, and I think the nice part is that I can say for you and for me and for many of people in our circle, we really are approachable. Like we really are here to support people, to offer them the cheerleading, the advice, the suggestions, the critique, like whatever it might be. Like there's articles out there that we've all written, and you have written books and articles and videos and so many things that are so time those are timeless. Like that information and that advice doesn't change, and your voice is so honest and true that people could really lean into all that you have written in the past and all that you're writing in the future, and really should just be tuning into you and your heart, because it's genuine and
Oh,
it's
thanks.
oh no, thank you for being you and being my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Oh gosh. Well, and really thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a guest on the show today. It's really been my pleasure, and you're welcome anytime. I would love for us to continue the conversation. Maybe we'll get some feedback and people will be like, "Wait, I want to know this." So we'll have to pick this up again.
Yeah, and next time I'm interviewing you.
Oh, how about that?
Just teasing you. It's your show. Whatever you want to do.
Well, you always take your advice, so we'll revisit that. Oh gosh.
Good.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm so thankful to have you in my life, and I'm so grateful to you for making the time so I could share you
Of course.
with the audience. And I know that you've shared so much that I'm sure there's takeaways that they will have, and I will make sure in the show notes they know how to follow you and find you in all the different places. So,
Thanks. That sounds great.
all right, awesome. That's a wrap on another episode of Heart and Hands of a Maker. It's been so wonderful sharing this time with you. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want more, be sure to head over to tamarahoneman.com/podcast for today's show notes and links to make it easy for you to find Katie. And to be sure you never miss an episode, please follow Heart and Hands of a Maker on your favorite podcast platform.